Nice knowing you, Tandy.
Season 1 of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger has come to a close and sets up for some mayhem in Season 2. So let's find out just what happened. Rise and shine on, you lovely people. Lisa here, and welcome back to the final Marvel's Cloak and Dagger recap for Season 1. Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're wrapping up Season 1 already. It kind of flew by. Yeah, after a slow start, all of a sudden it was like pow, pow, pow. And now it's over, and I'm kind of sad about it. But alas, I feel like the finale wrapped up the events of Season 1 pretty nicely and gave us a cool glimpse of what we can look forward to. So let's not waste any more time and just break down this finale episode.
Hey again.
So all season long, or most of the season, we've heard Evita's auntie tell about a divine pairing who have always saved New Orleans from destruction, but one must die in order for that to happen. Well, in this episode, Auntie gives Evita the history of all of those pairings and how after one sacrificed themselves, the famines, the disease, whatever it was, the threatening destruction was stopped. Also, the one that died usually had some kind of mark on their arm, whether it was a scar, a band around it, or something like that. So Auntie basically tells Evita that she has to go talk to Tyrone and Tandy and let them know about their destiny or their fate, whatever you want to call it. And I still kind of just love Evita's sassiness towards Tandy.
You found her. Tyrone's divine pairing.
I found her, but she ain't particularly divine.
Now, if you remember, last episode left off with evil water delivery lady holding Melissa at gunpoint. Well, Tandy does show herself and starts to talk to kind of distract this lady, saying like, you don't want to mess with me, Scarborough's lying, all this kind of stuff. And just when Tandy is about to show her powers because she feels like this lady's about to shoot her mom, this lady turns her gun towards Tandy and is distracted enough that Melissa's able to grab a knife off the table and stab the lady, and then we get a tussle between Tandy and this water delivery lady. Eventually, Tandy slices that lady's leg with a light dagger and she runs out the door. Tandy now knows she has to go get Mina to protect her because that's where this lady's going next.
I need to go help some people.
Why you?
Why not?
Well, it seems like Tandy has enough time to steal someone's Jeep and change her clothes, but she does head over to Mina's, where she's attacked by one of the terrors who we saw turned in the last episode. She kills that terror, and the other one is in the house searching for Mina, who's hiding in a wardrobe. Thankfully, Tandy is there to save Mina. Tandy then fills Mina in on how these terrors came to be, how that's what happened during the rig explosion and all of that. When they try to figure out if there's other valves that could break, Mina realizes that she has spread out these 9 valves around the city, and here she was thinking she could save this city, but now she could destroy it because these things could blow at any time. So they gotta get to Roxxon to try to shut the system down centrally. So these two head off to Roxxon and find Peter Scarborough, who's tried to destroy everything in his office and escape out of there, but these two are waiting for him in the elevator. And Peter ends up explaining to the two how he craves more power, and that's why they're digging for this stuff and all this, and he even name drops the Starks and the Rands, so it's a nice little Easter egg there. He also says that, you know what, they're kind of screwed because the equipment isn't responding remotely, so they're not going to be able to shut it down unless they get to the core, and he does end up telling them where it is. Tandy then touches Scarborough and sees his hopes and that he wants to be this god and whatever, and she tells him he can have it if he just goes through this door. And well, you know what, we've definitely seen this door before, so I don't think Scarborough's going to what he thinks he's getting. Mina and Tandy then head to get to the core, but water delivery lady is there to intercept them and start shooting at them, but in an odd turn, thankfully terrors show up and go after that lady. But they also go after Mina and Tandy as well. These two escape into some kind of warehouse and they're shutting all the doors and all the windows, but as Mina goes to shut one of the windows, a terror breaks through and touches her arm and turns her into a terror. So now Mina's running around this warehouse trying to get Tandy. And now we must pause this terror to head over to Tyrone. So last we saw Tyrone, he was escaping out of the window of his house as the cops were pulling up to pin the murder of Fuchs on him. Well, Tyrone has gotten away and now he's in the Red Hawk's place looking for Billy's cloak among the regalia. Otis then shows up behind him with the cloak and tells Tyrone that Tyrone needs to escape town and run as far away as he can, not call, not even send a postcard. And you know that's gotta be hard for a dad to be like, I'm sorry, son, this is the best for you, the best for me, you gotta just disappear. Otis then hands Ty the cloak and starts talking about how he's gonna sneak Ty out of the back of the place because the cops just showed up, but poof, Tyrone's already out of there. Ty's now making his way through the Mardi Gras parade, but the cops spot him and then O'Reilly pulls up to try to, be the getaway car. But unfortunately, the cops show up just then and surround both of them. Now she tells Ty to use his powers to teleport out of there, but he realizes too many people are watching, so they both end up in handcuffs. They are then brought to the station, but of course not booked or put in a cell, but put into a closet because, you know, if Connors decides to off them or something happens, there's no record they were even brought to the station. Yeah, dirty, right? O'Reilly then tells Tyrone, you know what, teleport out of here. She can handle this, but he says he needs his cloak to control it, which the cops have put into a desk. There's also another option though. He says he could teleport if some cops start shooting at him, but I feel like that is not the right option here. So then O'Reilly starts to talk to this cop that's watching them, Lafayette, but it's actually Tyrone who butts into the conversation and tells this cop his story, how they're both from the same place, they should be protecting each other.
Look, you took an oath. And right now, you have 2 lives in your hands. Understand that power.
You know what? It actually seems like Tyrone's story is getting through to Lafayette. We actually see him turn around to unlock the cage, but of course timing on this show just sucks for every character because someone has to ruin things. Another cop then walks in and tells him that Connors is coming, so he'll take over and watch. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has actually managed to break her cuffs. Then as they're being escorted through the station per Connors' demands, the terrorists show up and start wreaking terror. This time their timing was actually kind of good as a distraction. Now it's a battle in the police station, and the conversation Ty had with Lafayette actually works because this cop has now turned and is covering for Ty and O'Reilly to try to help them, and he helps Ty get his cloak back. Ty then goes into an office and rounds up a bunch of terrors and ends up teleporting right between Mina and Tandy, and Ty is able to tase Mina.
Took you long enough.
So now our duo are back in the church trying to figure out a plan, but Ty is just so upset because the last thing he thought of Billy's was that cloak, and now it's ripped to shreds because of the terrors, and he's feeling super defeated. Then in walks Evita to inform them that they're this defined pairing, they have to do something, and one of them's unfortunately going to die.
Did you not hear the part where we die?
Not both of you. Just one.
Still!
Right. After Evita finishes explaining, Ty tells her to get out of there because she's actually really important to him and he doesn't want to see her hurt. Now as Evita is leaving, she sees that he has this cut on his arm, and she now has this bad feeling that he's the one who's going to die because, you know what, everyone that died had some kind of mark on their arm. Then I love that Tandy chimes in on this whole relationship.
You know, on second throw, I don't hate you two together.
Tandy.
If the city doesn't destroy itself, you should lock that down.
This actually just makes me want more of Tandy and Evita hanging out together. I feel like they would be so much fun together. They're already sassy towards each other, but if they use that to work together, yeah, it could be kind of a fun dynamic there. But alas, they're back to trying to figure out this plan, and they're arguing because now Ty has lost hope and he's the mopey one, and it's Tandy who picks the hope up and this time gives him the pep talk and is like, you know what, fine, you whiny baby, if you think you need a cloak so bad to control your powers, use this. So she hands him Billy's hoodie, the first thing she ever stole that he didn't know she even still had. Yeah, so Tyrone didn't lose the last piece of Billy like he thought, so now he's kind of like amped up again, and these two run off to try to find the core, where they run into a pack of terrors. They then hear gunfire, and what do you know, O'Reilly is up high with her rifle sniping those suckers out, allowing Ty and Tandy to get away. But as O'Reilly walks back to her car, kind of brushing her shoulders off like, hey, I got these guys, someone starts shooting at her, and it's a good thing she took that bulletproof vest from the police station. Well, Connors is shooting at her and backs O'Reilly into one of those valves. Yeah, how convenient that she just so happens to be placed next to one of those 9 valves. Connor then shoots at her again, but misses and opens the valve. It busts open. O'Reilly ends up getting blasted backwards, thrown over the valve and on the ground, and it seems like she's either dead or knocked out.
Should have stayed in New York, bitch.
Ty and Tandy then make it to the Roxxon operations facility, and Ty's arm is starting to hurt worse, which does not seem like it's a good sign. Connors then comes at them from behind, but with Tandy and Tyrone's teamwork, they're able to disarm Connors. Ty then teleports 2 of them up to the top of the building, and he tells Connors he's not afraid of him anymore. He then lets Connors go, but Connors starts to shoot at Ty again, and this happens. Yeah, homeboy gets sucked up into Ty's cloak, and I have a feeling no one's gonna miss him, and he's not coming out anytime soon. Like, where does he actually go? Ty returns to Tandy, and now he knows what he has to do. He says Evita was right, and he's the one who has to die. You know, he's the fastest of the two. He can get there before anybody else, before things blow, and he tells Tandy bye and heads off inside to shut off the valves. But you know how stubborn Tandy is, right? She's not letting Ty go down like this, and she's not about to let him die. So she races down to the control room and cuts open the doors. Now things are starting to get worse as the ground is shaking, and she gets thrust back into a pipe, and now she has a burn on her arm. So they both have this mark on their arm, and it's like, are they both gonna die? But it actually makes them realize what they need to do. They gotta come together, whether they die or not, so they grab hands. Yep, all the light gets sucked into her dagger, all the dark into his cloak, and they float up into the sky and end up holding hands on top of the Superdome. Yeah, that's kind of a cool place to, you know, feel like you've completed a mission and just relax. Now, at first, when they were getting pulled upwards, I was kind of like, wow, these effects look so bad. But then I took a second look and I looked at the background of these two being pulled up and the coloring. I realized it looks just like a comic panel, so it's kind of like a little homage to the comic books, and I changed my mind. I was like, this is actually kind of cool. Cheesy, but kind of cool, but not as bad effect looking as I think it was. I think it was meant to look that way on purpose. But yeah, basically these two saved New Orleans. Did we have any doubts about them though? It's confirmed though the next day when on the news they say there's no explanations for why these random acts of violence just suddenly stopped after a strange flash of energy. And we also see Evita putting away all the dolls from the mantle. Then we see this water delivery woman, and she is back into human form. She's not a terror anymore, and she finds Scarborough catatonic in the elevator at Roxxon. Well, PD, what goes around comes around. You wanted to be a god, and now you can just live that whole thing over and over in your own little world. You made Ivan do it, now you gotta do it. We also see the cops at the Johnson house, and Adina hears a noise upstairs and she sneaks away, and when she goes upstairs, she notices a bunch of Ty's clothes are gone and a family picture. Meanwhile, Tandy has moved her stuff back to Melissa's trailer, and it seems like she's gonna move back home and they're gonna be a family again. Then we see that it's actually Ty who is now moving into the abandoned church where Tandy used to live, and Tandy shows up to give him supplies and food. And well, that's the end of the season. Just kidding. There's a post-credits scene. Well, it's not completely after the credits, it's after the title card. But what we see here is we see a bee buzzing around a flower, a hand come up and kill it, and emerging from the water is none other than O'Reilly. Yeah, when they teased that season 2 would be Mayhem, here you go. O'Reilly is on her way. Well, I think she has become Mayhem. And the way she was moving, that speed, reminded me a little bit of Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp. But I'm excited to see O'Reilly as Mayhem, to see Emma take on this new side of O'Reilly, this new character, whether she'll be a villain, a vigilante, an ally, how they're going to make this character go. Is she going to be like the comics? Or is she not going to be like the comics? Either way, she looks like she's angry. And it seems like there's a coincidence between how Mayhem gets her powers to how Tandy and Tyrone got theirs. They got theirs when the chemical exploded and they were in the water, and now we see that O'Reilly has emerged from the water after being sprayed by the gas. So yeah, I guess if you want to get powers, get sprayed by the gas and jump in the water. Maybe that'll be explained next season too. But now we also have Tandy finally learning to care. Yeah, she's done her, 180. She's had her character growth in this season. Seems like Ty has too. And now I'm excited to see these two as a duo. Now they know they can truly trust each other. They're getting a big grasp on their powers. And now we just kind of have to sit and wait for season 2. We gotta wonder who the next villain is gonna be, because they both kind of got their men. Tandy shows Melissa a paper that says Roxxon's basically to blame for everything. Connors is all up in that cloak. We haven't seen him, so who will they go after next season? Is it Mayhem? Is it someone else? I'm also curious of what Ty's gonna do now, since he kind of took his dad's advice. He's disappeared, but his mom does know that he's alive. So will Tyrone sneak around with his little teleporting to visit his family? Is he gonna let Evita know that he's alive? Because I feel like Evita probably thinks the duo's dead. Evita seems like such a good ally for both of them that, she could be their Bosley or something, like in Charlie's Angels. But I hope that she sticks around and that we see all three of these people working together. That could be fun. The last character to kind of wonder about if she's going to be in season 2 is Mina. They had Ali Maki doing so much press for the show lately, and she wasn't in a ton of episodes, but I feel like it'd be weird if they didn't bring her back, right? All Ty did supposedly was tase her, and since we saw that the water delivery lady turned from terror back into human, here's hoping that Mina turned back into her human self as well, and maybe she's gonna go take over Roxxon and fix it, or save the world, or do something like that. Wrapping up the season though, overall I feel like it was a good season. Like I said previously, started out pretty slow, but it ended with a bang and on a high note. So maybe now season 2 we'll get to see some of the suits. Are they gonna have suits? Maybe we'll see more of their powers working together. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a crossover, because if you noticed, the way that they were promoting tonight, they also showed the first episode of Marvel's Runaways, which airs over on Hulu. The first season's done, but they aired the pilot episode after Cloak and Dagger. I feel like to get people to go watch Runaways over on Hulu. There's no word on if they'll play the rest of the season out on actual Freeform. But I feel like with the distribution deal that Hulu and Freeform seem to have, this means that there could be possibly a crossover. They cross over in the comics. I feel like it could be cool to see on screen as well. Now, Marvel's Runaways is currently filming its second season. Cloak and Dagger hasn't started filming the second season, but will in a few months. So maybe on one of these shows we'll get some characters running into each other. Even though one's in New York or LA. No, one's in LA and one's in New Orleans. So it's kind of far away, but you never know. Maybe the Runaways will go all the way to New Orleans. I think the only other thing we got to worry about is if Tyrone's going to be able to clear his name for Fuchs' murder, because if he can do that, then he can come out of hiding, right? I don't know, but sound off in the comments down below and let me know what you thought all about this finale. How did you feel about things being wrapped up? Did you have a favorite moment from season 1? And now, what do you want to see happen in season 2? Any new characters you think should pop up? Any you think should get more screen time? I feel like we still need to learn a lot more about both of these sets of parents, as well as Father Delgado, even Evita. What about Liam? Maybe he just took the money and ran. We'll never see him again. I don't know. But after that, you can click right over here for my recent interview with Michael B. Jordan. We talk about Creed 2 and some other stuff. It's a fun interview. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. And thanks for hanging out with me during this season of Cloak and Dagger. Hopefully, I'll be back for season 2. See you later, guys.